Strung between good and evil, war is never a one-sided blade. Similar to the phrase, one man's trash is another man's treasure, it's safe to say that one man's enemy is another man's ally. With so much gray area, it's often said that victors write history. Well, if that be true, then whoever is responsible for writing the truth, we may never know.
Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai.
Yep, it's still dead.
Released almost a decade ago, Spec Ops The Line does a great job at revealing this unfortunate truth. Developed by Jaeger Development, Spec Ops The Line tells a story and descent into madness of a team of special op agents on a mission in Dubai. The game challenges players to make morally tough decisions and truly separates the entertainment features that are commonly associated with shooter games. While this story is expertly crafted, it's only enhanced by the brutally disturbing and realistic scenes in the game.
Oh my fucking god.
Jaeger Development did not hold back, as including events like these was crucial in impacting players the way Spec Ops The Line was intended. That's why today, we are going to take a look at some of the scenes that truly make Spec Ops The Line an experience memorable to all players. I hope you enjoy. Spec Ops The Line may come off as a generic military first-person shooter. It was released among the midst of a war era in video game history, with titles like Battlefield and Call of Duty being arguably at its commercial peak. Well, those who look past the multiplayer flop and the mediocre graphics of Spec Ops The Line would find the dark twist on the genre and why it garnered the cult following it has today. See, Spec Ops was brave enough to separate itself from others at the time by allowing itself to show the raw emotion of a war effort in a distant country. While this obviously included graphic and helpless violence, it explored the side of corruption of power and the consequences that followed. It allowed characters to develop in a much more realistic manner. While the gameplay focuses on a battle with guns, the story focuses on a battle with oneself and the damage that morally unethical decisions can have on a person. The story is truly an experience to explore, and I encourage everyone to give it a playthrough. The main story follows Walker and his team responsible for locating civilians in Dubai. The story obviously unravels into much more, and because of this we get a closer look at the chaos that unfolds during the mission. Often, we find ourselves stumbling over piles of corpses, with some still being alive. It's our duty to put these enemies to rest, but many crawl towards you slowly, begging for their lives. Many other shooters have scenery of rubble and abandonment, while in Spec Ops, it's not uncommon to see lifeless bodies hanging from bridges and poles. It almost becomes a piece of the land with the mass amount that we see. This is only enhanced by many darkly depicted murals on cement walls, some of which being a family with their eyes scratched out, and others burning and melting to death. Spec Ops The Line has two scenes that truly disturb and impact players on a much more philosophical level. So much so that the game even has a loading screen reminding players that they're still good people. So let's take a look. The game features the use of a chemical weapon known as White Phosphorus. This highly unethical weapon has been active since World War I. Now in many cases, White Phosphorus is used in small doses for ammunition or as smoke screens. But what happens when this chemical touches the skin? Well, on contact, White Phosphorus is very dangerous, often causing second and third degree burns. During the mission in Dubai, Walker and his team find themselves in a battle against a group called the 33rd. This is the apparent antagonist of the story, and we often find ourselves saving fellow agents from their grasp. Well, on one mission, we find ourselves at the end of a camp called the Gate. This camp is heavily guarded with members of the 33rd at every corner. In need of a quick way to deal with them, the group decides to deploy the use of White Phosphorus. They send a camera up and we see smoke slowly begin to spread across all corners of this camp. Finally, the camp is disposed of, and we see a final shot of Walker's face in the reflection of the screen. After some time passes, we walk through the camp. taking care of any soldier still alive.
This was too much.
Stop talking.
Many are, but not comfortably. We see many crawling, asking for help and why they have done this.
Is anyone there? Please. I'm trapped. I can't feel my leg.
We don't answer, but instead send one final bullet through each of their heads. We finally reach the end of this morally unethical setting, but not until we get one last knife through our hearts. A soldier, grasping on his last breaths, says this line.
Why?
You brought this on yourself.
We were helping.
We were helping. Unsure of what he means, Walker looks into a tent to find 47 innocent civilians, all instantly burned to death, with many still in position of what they were doing before their demise. These civilians were moved here for shelter, with hopes of survival and safety. We see doctors trying to aid the wounded, parents now frozen in place, burnt to a crisp, and finally, the image of a mother, aware of what's coming, shielding the eyes of her little girl. My jaw remained open for minutes after this scene. I couldn't believe what I just witnessed. The raw emotion and silence of what just happened set in, with us knowing it was all for nothing. I was left speechless. We get another rather controversial scene. Not as powerful as White Phosphorus, but still meaningful. After a helicopter sequence at the beginning of the game, the team separates, with Walker waking in a desert. He's able to reunite with his crewmate Adams, but he's not so fortunate when finding his final crewmate Lugo.
The rope! Shoot the rope!
We see Lugo in the middle of a lynching, hanging by the hands of angered civilians in Dubai. They shoot the rope down, and as Adams holds the mob back, Walker attempts to revive Lugo. The scene is very tense, with the mob of civilians still trying to close in on every corner.
Answer me, Walker!
Come on, Lugo!
Is he breathing? Move back, or I will open fire!
We find Walker giving CPR, but eventually stops as Lugo is not coming back. Walker closes Lugo's eyes, and given some time to think about what just happened, orders Adams to shoot.
God damn it.
Walker! Give me the fucking word!
Take him down.
I was planning on comparing the scene to the famous airport sequence in the Modern Warfare series, but this one was slightly different. These civilians were not entirely innocent, as they did lynch the crewmate and still proceeded to attack the armed soldier. Although they remained hostile, they were unarmed, and a mass shooting does not seem warranted. Even with this debate, the scene still displays very tense and disturbing imagery regarding mass shootings, violence, and death that many games often shy away from. Special Ops: The Line is an experience unlike most shooters. While lacking in multiplayer entertainment, Spec Ops offers players a raw, physiological approach to war and tragedy. To create the impact necessary for a game like this, it was a bold, but powerful move to include such disturbing scenes. The story truly is moving, and those who don't mind the imagery and violence used should give the game a playthrough. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. To see more disturbing and creepy things in video games, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications. It would also help if you could hit that like button. It takes me a while to create these videos, and liking helps push my videos to new viewers. Thank you all again, and I hope to see you all next time. Have a wonderful day.